Hey, I'm Zach.
And I'm Jesse.
And you're watching Tesla Time News.
Episode 174.
On Now You Know.
Brought to you as always by our amazing Patreon patrons. We just added a new perk. This is on-air questions of the week with Zach and Jesse, uncut. So we're taking a lot of the on-air questions of the week and we're answering them on a show that we're going to do about once a month. We're going to answer as many questions as we can in 30 minutes, and patrons at the $4 level can check it out.
And brought to you by abetterrouteplanner.com. They just passed 12 million planned trips, and there's a new app on Android and Apple making it even easier to use a Better Route Planner. So plan your next EV trip with abetterrouteplanner.com.
And as Amazon associates we earn from qualifying purchases, you'll find the link down below to help support the show.
And as you know, on EcoWare, we upload new designs every week, and we also plant a tree for every T. And we just planted 600 trees around the world, including places like Australia, the Philippines, Pacific Northwest, Kenya, Haiti, and the Amazon rainforest.
Wow, that means that in total we've planted over 1,000 trees, all with the help of people who have supported this show by buying EcoWare products.
That's right. And we'll be at Fully Charged Live in Austin, Texas on February 1st and 2nd. We'll be on stage with Robert Llewellyn, so go check that out. If you'd like to get tickets, we have a discount code that'll get you 15% off. It's NYK 2019. Well, it was a tough day on Wall Street last Friday because the U.S. drone strikes on the Iranian general had caused kind of market turmoil, and the Dow Jones was pulled down over 230 points. But Tesla's stock price was up at over $450 a share for a little bit. Check this out. In the last 7 months, short positions on Tesla shares have lost $8.4 billion. That's according to S3 Partners, a financial analytics firm.
So Tesla shorts have lost more on Tesla than any other company's short losses. Apple is second with $6 billion in the same period. And I think that this is amazing. I mean, you're losing $8.4 billion. You may as well start a company, start building some factory with that kind of money that you're willing to just pour down the drain. Why don't you compete against Tesla if you think that they're going to be so bad? You know, produce whatever you think would actually work. Like, why is it that you're just going to short a company and not take that money and do something productive with it?
Yeah, and a lot of people think that the short squeeze hasn't even really begun yet because the big shorts here are the not normal shorts. They're not the Mark Spiegels of the world. We're talking about big oil. They want Tesla to fail, and they've been shorting the stock in an unusual way just to keep the stock price low. But even they at some point are going to have to cover and buy the shares back. You can't just sell them forever. They have to be bought. So that could create quite a short squeeze coming up. And the other thing I want to mention is that gas prices are going up.
Absolutely. So that's just another reason why you might see the stock take another uptick. On top of that, the Q4 deliveries results.
Yeah, so we just found out that Tesla delivered 112,000 cars in Q4 of 2019. Its previous record was 97,000 cars in Q3, so quite an increase. Tesla produced 104,891 cars in Q4, which is another record. So we just talked about deliveries of 112,000.
Then production
of 105,000. Why is there such a disparity between production and then they actually delivered more than they produced?
So these were cars that were produced the quarter before, obviously, and they were in transit on the way to be delivered in Q4.
Model S and X sales were 17,933 cars produced and 19,450 delivered. And I just want to say that's actually an increase from last quarter, which is kind of surprising if you look at this chart here from hypercharts.co. And by the way, go check them out. Awesome charts of all sorts of cool ways to look at companies. But if you look at this chart here, you'll see that at the bottom in the red and the dark orange there is Model S and X sales. And for a while, they'd been pretty stagnant and even going down some quarters. But this last quarter, they went up. Why do you think that is?
I think that there are some people who have been waiting for this like elusive Model S refresh. Of course, the Raven came out, the Model S Raven, which is the best Model S yet. But I think people have been waiting for so long for this elusive refresh that they might just have gotten impatient and gone like, yeah, I want I want the car.
Well, and you're right. The Raven is pretty darn cool.
Right.
Then we have the numbers for Model 3 sales. 86,958 cars produced, 92,550 delivered. That's 18,000 more Model 3s in Q4 than Q3.
Right.
18,000 more.
It's really impressive. And I mean, we're just seeing continual growth all the while during this auto slump. Like, most car companies are not doing so hot.
Right.
And here Tesla is growing really fast.
Now, if you take those numbers and divide them by the weeks, you find out that Model 3s were produced at about a rate of 6,700 Model 3s per week in Q4. That now includes data from Gigafactory 3, because in the last few weeks, they were actually able to produce some. So that's a total of 367,500 vehicles delivered in 2019. So take a look at this chart here from Hypercharts of annual production, and you see that that is another record. In fact, more than 50% over the previous year.
Yeah. I mean, that is an insane growth proposition.
Yeah, back in 2018, Elon gave guidance for 360 to 400,000 cars in 2019. It looks like they have met the low end of that guidance with 367,000 cars delivered. So in the letter, they talked about Gigafactory 3 in Shanghai, and they said, we produced just under 1,000 customer saleable cars. We have also demonstrated production run rate capability of greater than 3,000 units per week, excluding local battery pack production, which began in late December.
I just want for a second you to look at the graph, this annual growth graph, and you see that it looks like it's going exponential, and then this last one doesn't quite fit an exponential curve. And you might be saying like, oh, demand's going down. I don't think that that's it. I think that it's production. They're becoming production limited at both Gigafactory and Fremont, and so they need another factory. Now they have another factory that's just beginning production. I think that we're going to see this, as a little blip outside of an exponential growth rate. But I think that that's really exciting that we're having another factory go online that's already able to, at bursts of 3,000 units per week. That means that we should be seeing pretty soon, I'm assuming, about a doubling in the number of Model 3s that you're able to produce. And now it's in a brand new market in China at a price point that a lot of Chinese people can afford. This is a really exciting thing for Tesla.
Yeah. So we saw this headline from Mazda. It said, Mazda claims long-range EVs are worse for the environment than diesel cars.
So according to Christian Schultz, one of Mazda's managers in Europe, well, according to him, long-range electric vehicles generate more CO2 than any diesel car in their cycles. So take a look at this graph here for a second. This is what Mazda has come out with. You'll notice if you look on some of the axes that there are no numbers. There's no numbers whatsoever. They're just drawing lines on a graph with like a crayon.
Yeah, you don't need numbers on a chart.
And then they put in this battery replacement.
Yeah,
at a certain point. They say, oh, well, at a certain point, you're going to need a battery replacement. I mean, okay, but where is their data coming from? Because basically, they're citing their sources a little loosely here.
What I find deplorable about what Mazda is doing here is that they can make such unfounded claims all because they can only produce a low-range car, and they need to somehow justify it. So take a look here. They've just come out with the MX-30. It should be produced in early 2020. It's got a 35.5 kilowatt-hour battery. That's not a very big battery. To put that in context, that is, half the battery of a Model 3.
Right. And the range will suffer significantly from that. And so this is the way that they justify it by saying like, well, it's a cleaner car. But if you take a look, here's a graph from the ICCT, and this study shows that they are completely wrong and that their claims are unfounded. I would also like to point out that this study from ICCT is from 2015.
Right.
Which means that, as we're about to report in the rest of the show, a lot of these countries' grids have gotten a lot cleaner, which means that the fuel cycle, which is what it takes to produce the fuel or the electricity that is going to go into these cars, is going to be a lot cleaner, which means there's going to be less CO2.
Yeah, so shame on you, Mazda, for spouting, incorrect information just to promote your latest car. Are you going to just change all that when you come out with a bigger battery car?
Right. If they make it that far.
So check this out. This is new animation from SpaceX showing their Crew Dragon and how that whole system is going to work. I am so excited to see. I know it's not real. I know this is just animation. But I'm just so excited to see this vision of how Crew Dragon is going to work.
Right. So pretty soon we're going to be seeing a test of Crew Dragon, and it's going to feature a in-flight abort test.
What does that mean?
So the capsule that's going to house the astronauts, there won't be any astronauts in the test, but it's going to jettison from the rocket while it's launching.
Oh, so in case there was some kind of problem, it has this rocket system to save the astronauts inside.
Right. And in fact, we saw this very recently with a recent Soyuz launch,
right.
where the astronauts who were supposed to be going to the International Space Station were saved by the Soyuz capsule jettisoning from the rocket and landing them safely back on Earth.
Right, because the rocket blew up.
Yeah, it wasn't having a very good time, and so that's the whole point of the jettison system. And so we're actually going to be able to see a rocket take off from a rocket mid-flight. I think that's going to be really cool. Now, it's not scheduled yet, so just keep your ears open for when that's going to happen. Also, exciting SpaceX news. According to Elon, the Starship prototype could be launched as early as 2 to 3 months from now.
What?
So that's really exciting. We've been seeing them building it for the longest time. We're actually going to get to see it launch, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, one of the hard parts they've been having is the dome that they're trying to build on the Starship. It's a lot harder than they kind of thought it was. In fact, they had a little blow up there where it failed a test. But yeah, this is exciting. The speed with which things are going to be happening.
Yes, and if you can't wait 2 to 3 months for this Starship launch, don't worry, because Starlink 2 is going to be launched today.
What, today, Monday?
That is when it is scheduled for. We're going to have to see, depending on the weather. Should be about 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time.
Wow.
So, yeah, definitely be looking for that. And that'll be a Falcon 9 launch. Then, in case you missed this one, in case you see this one on Tuesday and you're like, oh, no, I missed it. Don't worry. Starlink 3 is scheduled to launch for mid-January.
Wow.
So that's like a couple weeks maybe. And then Starlink 4 is scheduled for late January.
Wait, so 3 launches in a month?
Yeah, this is practically as often as a football game. Then, Crew Dragon with astronauts has been scheduled to launch to the International Space Station in February. Now, that might get pushed back, so, we definitely need to see what's going to go on there. But that would be a momentous occasion whenever that happens, even if it does get pushed back. And then a Falcon 9 cargo mission to the International Space Station is scheduled for early March, along with 2 other Falcon 9 launches in March. So,
wow,
get your space caps on. It's time to watch some fun rockets.
So you might have seen this from Ocean Cleanup back in October. They talked about this new thing called the Interceptor. And it's taken me a while to wrap my head around how this works and what's going on. But there was a lot of controversy over Ocean Cleanup when they announced that they're going to be cleaning up the big Pacific garbage patch. Because a lot of people said, okay, great that you're cleaning up the oceans, but we continue to dump plastic into the ocean, so how are you ever going to catch up?
Right. So you're just solving a symptom. You're not solving the cause, the root of the problem.
Right. Well, kudos to Ocean Cleanup, because it turns out they've secretly been working on this problem, and they announced their solution, which is the Interceptor. So they studied it first. They studied the data, and they found out that most of the plastic going into the ocean comes from rivers. And there's tens of thousands of rivers in the world, and they wanted to see, well, how do we can't focus on tens of thousands of rivers. They realized from the data that about 1,000 rivers in the world contribute about 80% of the plastic waste going into our oceans. So 1,000 is a number you can kind of wrap your head around, something you can attack. So their goal is to clean up and capture all the plastic waste from these 1,000 rivers in the next 5 years.
And so how are they going to do that?
This is the Interceptor. This is a solar-powered, autonomous...
jet fighter.
No, it's not that
You
sexy.
called it an Interceptor. It should have wings. This looks like it's a barge.
Well, it is. Basically, it's a solar-powered barge that can take in 50,000 kilograms of plastic per day. And what's exciting is there's already 4 of these in operation around the globe. So the goal of this is to basically, as waste is floating down the river, this thing just conveyor belts it up into the Interceptor, puts it into different dumpsters. Those get taken out, and this can all be done autonomously. You don't need humans to run this for the most part.
And so how are they going to pay for all of this?
The interesting thing about waste created in a river is that river is owned by either a municipality or a state or a country. And according to Ocean Cleanup, it's in the best interest of those countries to pay for this because it's actually cheaper to take the plastic out than to leave the plastic in.
So the costs of having the plastic pollution in there are higher than it is to clean it up, because it's,
right.
I mean, this is a solar-powered barge. There's not too much cost associated with it, I suppose.
Right, because, I mean, imagine if you have a polluted river and then you're able to clean it up with 1 or 2 of these Interceptors. Now you have a clean river. Your fishing is going to go up. Your tourism is going to go up. So it's worth it to clean it up. Now, there's the other side of the equation, the waste that's already in the oceans and more that's being added every day. And so the other goal they have is to clean 50% of the Pacific garbage patch in the next 5 years. And many people have asked, well, how are you going to pay for that?
Right, because, I mean, there are no municipalities or states or even governments that own the ocean.
So their answer is they've already done an experiment where they've tried to clean up the ocean. They've kind of tweaked how they're doing it. Basically, it's very similar. You put out this big kind of buoy system and waste gets floated in there and then you collect it out. But now you have all this waste. And they say what they're going to do with it is turn it into items, products that you can buy at a premium because this will be made out of plastic that was once in the ocean. So starting in September of 2020, they will start actually making products, selling them for more than you would expect to spend on a other cheap product because you can then say like, look, my chair is made out of plastic waste.
Interesting. It's such a funny thing that they needed to do this research to figure out about the rivers.
Yeah.
Because I always imagined that all the trash in the ocean was just coming because someone like walked to the beach and was just like, "Rah!" You know, and then it was that guy's fault. It had nothing to do with me. I'm miles from the coast, you know, like, oh, what if this chip bag falls out of the thing, right? It's not going to make it to the ocean. That's where the rivers come in, right? The rain washes the stuff to the rivers and the rivers take everything out to the ocean.
Right.
So it's this like great for us, I guess, because it takes all this garbage and it just magically disappears, but it ends up in the oceans.
Yeah.
And so by cleaning the rivers, which is the bottleneck where all of this stuff ends up, you're able to prevent it from reaching the oceans. I think it's really cool.
Now, some good news here is that starting now in France, plastic cups, plastic plates, cotton buds, which are Q-tips, and plastic water bottles in school cafeterias are all banned as of January 1st of this year. Now, in 2021, they're going to add plastic straws, cutlery, cup lids, confetti, styrofoam containers, and fruit and vegetable plastic packaging.
And in 2022, they're going to ban plastic tea bags and toys in fast food restaurants. They will also make water fountains to become mandatory in public establishments.
Now, did you know that only about 8 to 9% of plastic produced worldwide is recycled? In the last 15 years, we saw more plastic produced around the globe than in all previous human history.
And plastic production is expected to triple by 2050.
And some more pretty good news. Thailand just banned plastic bags at major stores, and there will be a complete ban on plastic bags next year. So early last year, Thailand was ranked 6th worldwide in dumping plastic into the ocean.
During the first phase of this plastic bag reduction, Thailand reduced its use of plastic bags by 2 billion and is now moved into the number 10 spot, according to the Minister of Natural Resources and Environment.
So, bad news, but slightly better.
Getting better. So this next story is, in a nutshell, why we like solar, I think. Let's just check this out. So what you're seeing here is a huge solar field getting put in. 90,000 solar panels.
Wow.
And that will produce up to 34.7 megawatts of peak power, which is going to be powering all of the surrounding homes. Now, you might be saying, oh, but Zach and Jesse, the sun goes away during the night.
It does, actually.
It does. That's why they have a 30 megawatt hour battery storage system that will also be able to balance the grid during the night and during the day.
Oh, that's what's in those storage containers.
Absolutely. So this is a 198-acre site, an area about the size of more than 100 football pitches for you Brits out there. This was the first large-scale UK project to use trackers which follow the sun and increase generation by up to 20%.
Oh, wait, so those solar panels are moving to follow the sun throughout the day?
Yes, to be extra efficient.
Wow. So, I mean, how much power can this thing produce? Like, give it to us on a level that I can understand.
So this is enough energy to power more than 20,000 EVs every year.
Wow. Now, what really blew me away was that it took less than 5 months to build this. I mean, normally you build a gas power plant or something, and it takes years to build.
Right, and take a look at the infrastructure required. Sure, you needed some trucks and cranes, but honestly, not that much. A lot of it was just a little bit of manpower. It's not that hard to build something even this big.
Yeah. And I mean, I'll bet you the neighbors practically don't even know that it's there or that it was being built.
Right. I mean, unless you're up high or you happen to drive right by it, there's nothing, polluting anything anywhere. So that's why we love solar.
Now, you might be watching this and thinking about getting solar panels on your house or your mom's house or your uncle's house, but there's always some reason someone in the family has that they're like, this doesn't make sense.
Right. And that hang up is going to prevent you from getting solar in the house. And ultimately, that's going to be losing whoever owns the house money.
Right. So you always need a rebuttal, right? But usually when they bring that up at, dinner, you're like, I don't really know how to answer that.
Right. What are you going to do? Whip out your phone, find the answer, and then be like, aha! I got you. You're not going to be able to do that because you're busy eating dinner.
Right. Well, that's why we like Energy Geeks. They are now rebranding soon to be Energy Pal, but they're the same people, and they will help you for free to answer all your questions, and they will help you find the best solar installer and the best system for you. They're super friendly. They'll take all the time you need to answer questions. They'll give you time in between if you want to just let you go back and tell people in your family about it. And we vetted them. Check out our video here where we interviewed them. We talk to them all the time. We know that they're good. We know they help people all the time. So use our link below. It doesn't cost you anything. The money that pays them comes out of the installer's budget. So it's like having your own advisors that work for you, like your own lawyers. It's pretty cool. Now, we hear it all the time. People say to us, Zach and Jesse, you do this hour-long show, but I wanted to share something in the middle of the show with my friend, but how am I going to share that?
Well, we have a solution for you. It is the Now You Know Clips channel. So it is another channel on YouTube. You can search for Now You Know Clips and subscribe to it because we're going to be putting out a lot of the stories that you see on this show as individual clips. So if you're like, oh, I wanted to share that solar story with my dad, you can now do that. Simply subscribe to our channel. We're going to be coming out with that content. You can then share it, and that is going to help the whole world because part of our goal here is to educate people about what's going on in terms of sustainable energy and EVs. And one of the easiest ways to do that is to just share little stories with people.
Yeah.
Because that really will begin to at least change their minds.
All right, so I've been working on this movie pitch. You know I've been working on movie pitches, and I think I got a killer one right now.
Okay.
All right, picture this. Big auto manufacturer mogul, right, gets paid millions of dollars a year, and then he gets caught for financial impropriety.
Okay.
He's put in jail. And then he's rich, so he gets house arrest.
Okay.
But now he wants to flee the country and escape because he knows he's in trouble, right? So he waits till New Year's Eve when everyone's busy with fireworks and stuff, and he gets snuck out of the country in a musician's instrument case. And now he's on the lam, and he's an Interpol wanted fugitive from justice. Huh? What do you think?
Okay. What are you going to call it? It sounds a little far-fetched, but...
Well, I was thinking of the Ghosn Identity.
Okay, this just sounds way too unrealistic. I mean, snuck out of house arrest with an instrument case?
Yeah, it could happen.
No, it couldn't.
I guess I didn't tell you the important part. This story is inspired by true events.
What are you talking about?
Former Nissan and Renault chairman Carlos Ghosn had been under house arrest in Japan on $14 million bail on charges of serious financial misconduct. Now, you remember, we've talked about Carlos Ghosn before.
Right.
He's been running big car companies for a long, long time.
Okay.
Well, they caught him on basically not reporting a lot of income and spending money that wasn't his and so forth. And so they put him in jail, and then he somehow got himself house arrest. I don't know how he did that. And then, he snuck out of Japan on New Year's Eve in an instrument case, and he's now in Lebanon.
Wow. Well, that's not what Elon Musk thinks. No? Elon Musk thinks that he snuck out looking like this. It's Japan, it's New Year's Eve.
That's the way to do it. Yeah.
It definitely seems plausible. I mean, this guy is a fugitive.
Yeah, the Ghosn Identity.
Yeah, I mean, that is going to be a good movie in about 5-10 years, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, because it's based on true events.
Right. Who do you think is going to play Ghosn? I think that it should be Matt Damon. And it should be called the Ghosn Identity. Because it seems just so similar,
Is he going to kill people and stuff?
Who knows what this guy's been doing if he gets snuck out of...
This guy's a multi-millionaire. I want to put this in perspective here. He is now worth $120 million. Okay? He has passports for Lebanon, Brazil, which is where he was born, France, and Japan. So Lebanon has said to Japan, we're not going to extradite him. And France has said we're not going to extradite him. So I guess for the rest of his life, he can fly between Lebanon and Paris and live with his millions of dollars scot-free. He must be super guilty, I think, because...
Why would you escape if you're innocent? Now, he's claimed that the Japanese government is just after him.
But wouldn't you think he'd have great lawyers if you have that much money?
Right.
And I mean, he's an international figure. I don't think Japan's going to just throw like fake things at him and lock him up.
I don't know.
I think it's because he's wicked guilty and he knows that he doesn't want to spend the rest of his life in prison. He got paid over $120 million and he ran Nissan into the ground. Right. Nissan is now in serious trouble. They're hemorrhaging money. So why would you pay a guy that much money to do such a horrible job?
I don't know.
He's smart. That's why. He knows how to sneak out of the country.
All right. Well, it's time to stop. Hammer time.
Hammer time.
What?
Check this out. Model 3 was hit by a hammer while traveling on the highway. So this is like one of my greatest fears, is that I'm driving on the highway and something just out of nowhere comes and boom, hits my car.
Wait, that hammer just flew up and hit the car.
Yeah, so it seems like it was already on the roadway, probably fell out of the back of a pickup truck. Yeah, I'm talking to you pickup truck owners who just throw just 2x4s in the back of it, no straps, no bungee cords, nothing.
Gravity's gonna work.
Right. Oh, it just doesn't matter that I'm going 80 miles an hour in the left lane of the highway. This 2x4 is not going to
Fly off
when I hit a giant bump. Yeah, that's why I pass them on the right, honestly, is because I don't want to be behind that. Anyway, let's get back to the story.
Yeah.
So
is everyone okay?
Everyone's okay. Look at this. Look at the picture of the windshield.
Oh, good. Okay. I mean, this is why we need that Cybertruck glass.
Exactly. Because, I mean, it a testament to the Model 3, because, I mean, yeah, if that hammer hits you and there was nothing in between you and the hammer, that would hurt.
Hammer time.
Hammer time.
Hammer time.
So when this story broke, the only video footage of this event was from this YouTube channel. And the cool thing was that they spent the whole first about 10, 15 seconds of the video explaining some of the new updates that came out on Tesla. Mm-hmm. And so that got me thinking. Because basically this exact video was shared on every news site that talked about it. So anyone who watches this video is now going to know that if you honk the horn, you're going to save dashcam footage. That is just one little thing. And I think that if for all of these different Tesla-related stories, if we put a little blurb about Tesla that told something that people probably didn't know, like about its crash safety rating and other stuff like that, it'd be a great way to educate people who are clearly interested in Tesla enough to click on a link to a story about it. Yeah. So if you have any stories, if you got into any accidents or anything like that, please reach out to us, and that way we can help inform people.
I like it.
Right? By making little clips. Also putting a little thing in the story, because all of these news organizations couldn't remove this little clip at the beginning of the video.
They were forced to report the news.
They were forced to report actual news.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like this too. National Grid is reporting that green energy was the largest power source for the United Kingdom's electrical grid in 2019.
48.5% of UK's electricity was supplied by wind, solar, and nuclear.
Coal, natural gas, oil, and diesel made up only 43%. Biomass was 8.5%.
Coal was only 1.9%, and by March, there will only be 4 coal plants left in the country.
The UK's goal is to be net zero by 2050, and they are halfway there.
Wow.
Not to leave Germany out of it, Germany has also, for the first time ever, produced more of its electricity from renewables than fossil fuels. Check out this chart here.
Wow. What a significantly fast change.
Yeah.
That's super impressive.
And that's why it's so important when people report on studies from 2013 that say your EV is dirty because they're using dirty grid. Mm-hmm. 2013 is like forever ago. Things are happening so fast. You have to use the latest data. And Denmark shouldn't be left behind here, because Denmark got 47% of its power from wind in 2019. That is up from 41% in 2018. So 18% is from offshore wind, 29% is from onshore wind.
That is extremely impressive.
And it just goes to show you that if you put the effort and resources into what you've got a lot of, say it's solar or wind, then you can make your power from it. And now you don't have to keep paying for it. The wind just comes out for free every day and blows.
Right. You don't have to pay a guy to sit there and be like, hey, I need another $5 if you want me to keep blowing this air. All right. So there's this crazy patent that just came out from Tesla. So it is to use perforated glass in order to make the interior of the car quieter and more efficient in terms of the HVAC system.
Sorry to tell you, that's not going to work. If you put holes in glass, then when it rains out, it's just going to get into your car. So you're going to have to throw that patent out.
Okay, no, it's not. So the idea is using multiple layers of glass.
Oh, okay.
So obviously the outside glass is to protect you from the rain and the wind and the dirt and the hammers. And the interior glass is going to have holes, apparently, that could be used for a variety of different purposes.
Like what?
So one of them that they talked about was acoustics. Basically, you could tune the size and shape and placement of holes, and we're talking really small holes here,
Okay, yeah.
to help with acoustics in the car, which means that it would baffle the air, it would kind of dampen it, sort of like you know how you used to put egg cartons on the ceiling of your makeshift recording studio?
I remember it never worked.
Yeah.
But they were free.
But the idea is that it's supposed to bounce the sound around in there and it dissipates and goes away.
Okay. But then I see that they also listed HVAC as a reason for putting the holes.
So one of the other ideas that they put in this patent was to flow air in between the layers of glass, and that would then allow air flow to be coming directly from glass.
Oh, wow.
So it's not entirely clear if they're going to be talking, if we're talking like windshields here, if we're just talking glass roofs. They're not talking about doing too many holes. It's going to be about 1 to 2% of the glass surface is going to be made up of holes. I don't know. It's a very broad patent. They're clearly just covering themselves to allow for a variety of different things. But
yeah,
I wonder if we're going to see this in the Cybertruck.
You know what I like about this? It shows the mentality of innovation, because one of the inventors listed on this patent was a Tesla intern. So Tesla isn't like, stay away, you're not going to come up with anything. They're just like, yeah, you got an idea? Your name's on the patent.
Yeah.
So this Model Y was spotted in San Mateo, California with what appears to be blacked out new wheels.
So you check it out. Some people think that these are T Sportline wheels. We checked as hard as we could, and we don't think that this looks like those.
Yeah, none of them matched. So, I mean, let us know in the comments below what you think, but these could be some new wheels that might be coming out with the Model Y.
They look slick.
They do. Now, we're going to be showing some full videos of a performance Model Y in our Patreon bonus stories that we can't show you here, so we'll show you that there. Get this. We're always talking about Norway being awesome when it comes to EVs. Well, they did it again. 56% of new cars sold in Norway in 2019 had plugs. So obviously I'm adding in the plug-in hybrids here, but even if you take away the hybrids, still 42% of Norway's car sales were battery electric EVs.
Oh my God.
That's up from 31% in 2018.
And so what was the most popular new car in Norway?
You know the answer to that. It was the Model 3.
Wow.
Look at this. It's got 11% of the market share. It now dethroned the Nissan Leaf.
So more Model 3s were sold than the Nissan Leaf in Norway.
Yeah.
11% of the market share. We're not talking plug-in market share or EV market share. We're talking total new car sales. 11% of them were Model 3s.
Yeah. And speaking of Model 3s, Tesla announced last year that the Standard Range Plus Model 3 in China would cost 355,800 yuan, or about $50,000.
But now Tesla has lowered the price to $46,500 before incentives.
Now, with incentives, the starting price is down to 299,000 yuan, or about $43,000.
Now, how is Tesla able to do this? Well, they're building 28 Model 3s per hour at the Gigafactory 3. That is more than 1,000 per week.
Now, currently, only 30% of the parts in Shanghai are sourced locally in China. I found that very interesting because I kind of thought that, you know, they would just get all Chinese parts. But Tesla says that they aim to have 80% of the parts by the middle of this year being sourced locally and 100% of the parts by the end of the year. So I guess right now there's parts being shipped in from all over the world. And they're hopefully going to start minimizing that to just China, which would help, you know, reduce costs. Now, just interesting to note, 30,000 Model 3s were sold in China in 2019. Those are the US-made ones that had to be shipped over. So this means that a whole problem that Tesla had, which was putting cars on ships and shipping them halfway around the world, they don't have to do that anymore.
Right. More cars are going to be able to be sold locally in the US and also in Europe.
Yeah.
I think that that's really exciting.
And Tesla has announced that Chinese deliveries of the Made in China Model 3 will begin tomorrow, January 7th, to the general public. So far they've just been selling to their own employees, which is smart. Your first, few hundred cars, you want to make sure that there's any problems, which there typically are, that you can deal with locally.
But they're running out of employees. Tesla only has 3,200 employees in China.
So far.
And they're making they're pretty much exceeded that in terms of number of cars that they've produced.
Right.
It's just an ongoing saga of excitement.
Talk about excitement. Tesla just updated their Supercharger map on their website, and it is quite exciting. So here is the Supercharger network as it exists today. And that's pretty exciting. All those little red dots, you can charge there right now.
It looks like the world's getting like chicken pox.
Measles,
Yeah.
I know. But as you can see here, Tesla just updated it. So anywhere where there's a gray dot, it's where they're planning to add new superchargers in 2020. So I urge you to go to Tesla.com and take a deep dive and check into your little neck of the woods and see what's coming out, because it is pretty exciting. Just to show you, here's the US. So try not to look at the red dots for a second. Look for the gray ones, and you'll see that there's gray dots everywhere.
Right. It's really exciting because they're filling in a lot of spaces. Normally, you'd have a supercharger here, you'd have a supercharger there, and you could definitely make it. You could drive between those two superchargers, no problemo. But having more in between means that it's no longer such an issue if you get either drawn off course or if you get iced. You have to drive past one of the superchargers because you forgot to take the exit, whatever reason. It just makes your life in a Tesla that much easier. And I think it's really important to look to California especially. This is sort of the future of what we're going to be seeing in terms of the supercharger map. It's going to be this dense. So just kind of keep that in your mind when you're looking at the different areas of the world.
So check out this new all-electric compact SUV planned to be released in 2022.
2022. What are the specs?
Well, it has no less than 186 miles of range. I never know what they mean when they say that, but okay, great.
No less.
No less than. There's two variants here. There's a 200 horsepower rear wheel drive and a 400 horsepower dual motor variant. So with the rear wheel drive, you can go 0 to 60 in 7.6 seconds.
Respectable.
Dual motor, you can go 0 to 60 in 4.8 seconds.
Perfect.
It's got DC quick charging with up to 150 kilowatts.
Okay.
And the factory is scheduled to be completed in 2021.
And they're going to produce the car in 2022.
That's what they say.
Okay, but maybe this is a big company that has produced cars before, and this isn't going to be such a big problem for them.
Well, TOGG is a state-supported consortium of 5 companies, including a mobile phone company, Turkcell, and Zorlu, which makes TVs. So they haven't done this before.
Oh.
Turkey, the government, is pumping $3.7 billion into the consortium over the next 13 years, and they plan to make 175,000 cars a year, with 5 more models coming out over the next 15 years.
When can I get one?
Well, they say 2022 is the first compact SUV. It'll only be available in Turkey at first, but then they say they want to go international after that. All right, it's time for Throwback Thursdays.
It's Monday.
Let's go back to 2018, January, when this chart came out. Remember this chart? Those two lines there, the red one is the Chevy Bolt, looking pretty good.
Yeah.
And then the little upstart there in blue is the Tesla Model 3.
Wow.
Looks like it's got a long way to go to
Bolt
compete,
is just crushing it, isn't it?
Yeah.
And look, it continues to crush it. You know, you thought that growth was like all that. It was so exciting. But look at that. The Bolt's just staying on top. Little hiccup there towards the end. But, all the way out till, 2018. This is looking pretty good for Bolt.
Yeah. Except that's about where it ended. Let's zoom out and look at what's been happening since then.
Okay. Yeah, and look at that. The Bolt's just crushing it.
Oh, no, the blue is the Bolt.
The blue. Oh.
The red is the Tesla Model 3.
Oh, wait. Okay. So,
yeah,
where's the blue?
Yeah, so what's happened here is that Bolt sales for 2019 were 16,418, which sounds good, like 16,000 cars. But that's down 8.8% from 2018, and it's down 29.5% from 2017.
And not even to mention looking at the Tesla Model 3 sales,
right,
which
crushing
are absolutely pulverizing it.
Also, GM hit the 200,000 car limit, just like Tesla did in 2019. So they're going to start losing their tax credit, which was their whole big argument of like why Tesla was going to have problems. They're like, oh, you're not going to get a tax credit for buying a Tesla.
Right.
Well, soon you won't get one for buying a Bolt.
And keep in mind where we're starting to see the diminishing tax credit for Tesla, it's way back and we're still seeing growth.
Right. All right, it's time for our video contributor stories. Now, if you would like to make a story about something happening in your neck of the woods, we would love to air it on the show. All you need to do is film it in landscape and have some good audio, so don't let the wind blow in your microphone. Don't put any music on there, and send it to us at zach@nowyouknowchannel.com or on Facebook, and we'll check it out, and maybe you'll get on the air like Colin is.
Hey, Zach and Jesse. I'm Colin from England, and I remember a few months ago you mentioned that in England they were going to convert all lampposts to electric car chargers, and it was interesting because that was the first time that I had ever heard of that. But I was walking along in a friend of mine's neighbourhood recently, and I saw this. So good reporting, because you guys were right, and it was the first time I'd ever heard of it. So yeah, now it's a lot easier to have an electric car. Here's the Mercedes plug-in hybrid that's being charged right now. So yeah, I heard it on Now You Know first, and now it's actually happening. Now you know.
Man, lamppost chargers are the best thing that has ever happened.
Totally makes sense. You've already got power there.
Right.
You've already got a lamppost there. So just take the wires like they did and just make a charger.
And all you'd have to do would be to put like a little 20 amp outlet there. Like you don't even need anything that significant.
No, because you're going to be parked there for hours.
Right. Like if this lamppost is by your house and there's just no way for you to charge your car, this is going to solve that problem for you.
Thank you, Colin.
That was great. All right, it is time now for the Patreon bonus stories. This is where we talk about some stories that we just couldn't get to on the news this week, but we're going to do it for our Patreon patrons because they are freaking awesome, and you can join them. Head over to patreon.com/nowyouknow channel. Help support us for as little as $1 a month, and you get to see the Patreon bonus stories. And hey, there are a ton of other great perks on there, and they do not cost that much money. So please consider supporting this show. We can't do this show or anything else without our patrons.
See you there. All right, we are back from the Patreon bonus stories. That was fun. That last one was pretty cool.
I'm just saying, you know, you should definitely head over to Patreon and check it out.
Let's do some shout outs.
You're missing something. Yeah.
So we do shout outs every week for our patrons who support us at $5 or more a month, and then they get their names up at the end on the end credits. Who do we got this week, Jess?
We have Craig Sweetnam,
William Carvlin,
Scott Holliday,
David Kidd,
Mark Thomas,
Frank Dixon,
Scott Anderson,
Michael Morris,
Alex Wagner,
Randy G. Cutshaw,
Matthias Pousset,
Robert Cachadorian, Shane
Weiser,
and Mike Neal. Thank you so much, guys. Just want to remind you guys there's a little bit of a wait between when you sign up and when we get to your names. I think we've gotten all the way up to like late August, early September, so we're getting there.
We're chugging through them.
Yep. We want to make them special.
Right. Thank you so much for your support. We couldn't do this show without you.
It's time for Elon's tweets of the week. We got a bunch. First one's a meme, of course.
Just read it.
I couldn't stop laughing when I finally got it.
I like the guy's face. Wait, I could explain everything.
Then this one from World of Engineering, they said the speed of light in real-time animation by Dr. James O'Donoghue. And then Elon tweeted,
"It's a bit slow."
So I assume he means that the speed of light is a bit slow. He wishes you could go faster.
It's pretty slow.
I'll bet you anything we're going to be figuring out that you can go faster than the speed of light. Just throwing it out there.
Okay.
Yeah. And then Elon said, "Rest in peace, Sid Mead. Your art will endure." And remember that Sid Mead was the designer for films like Blade Runner, which is what inspired the Cybertruck. And luckily, before Sid passed away, he was able to experience the Cybertruck. So I think that's awesome. And then Eva Fox asked this interesting question to Elon. She said, "Among all your habits, which is the worst, and why are you still with it?" And Elon said,
"Biting off more than I can chew, because I'm an optimistic fool." Well, I don't know if I would say he's biting off more than he can chew.
He's been able to chew it so
He's
far.
been able to chew quite a lot.
Yeah. And then Everyday Tesla said, "Are you still involved in most of the design for SpaceX?"
And Elon said, "Yeah, engineering is 90% of my time at SpaceX and about 60% at Tesla."
Muffin, not a muffin.
Oh,
so Elon posted this picture of some muffins and some dogs. And Viv said, "Is this the data you use to train Tesla's neural network?" And Elon said, "Muffin or not a muffin?" Yeah, it's kind of easy for a human to pick out the dogs.
I don't know. Some of these are pretty tricky.
But yeah, I mean, it just shows you how much our brain is wired. Like, you put the dots in the right places and you know it's a dog.
And that's what we're training the neural nets to do is, well, not necessarily for dogs and muffins, but for, driving stuff.
And then this tweet from May Musk, Elon's mom, she tweeted out that the Elon Musk interview for the Third Row Tesla podcast with all of those awesome people. And coincidentally, Kimball and I were there. Stay tuned for fascinating stories about Tesla. So huge shout out to Third Row Tesla. It's just started as a podcast.
I know.
And now they've just interviewed Elon. I am super jealous.
I'm super worried. Where are you going to go from here?
I know,
Who
right?
are you going to be interviewing?
Awesome. I can't wait to hear that.
Yeah.
All right, it's time for community mail time.
Community mail time.
So this is pretty awesome. This is Frank, and he made a Cybertruck for his son.
What?
So this is a little go-kart. Take a look at this.
Oh. Go slow, go forward, slowly, 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 no? Go. Oh yeah, you pull him. Okay, stop. Don't, no more.
Wait, his son is driving it?
His son is in. See the little Santa hat? Isn't that a good Christmas present?
Oh my God, has he won like Dad of the Year award?
Yeah, I think that he. Sorry.
Yeah, no,
But I think that he
hands
won.
down, Frank. You've won for sure.
And it can even tow. Look at that.
He's towing a car with
A little
it.
dangerous there. There's no brakes on the car.
I want to do a plug for our buddy Mr. G. He's having his second EV conversion class. It's EV Conversions 101. He's already done one that went super successfully. You're seeing some clips here from things they did, like starting fires. I mean, that's freaking awesome. What a better way to learn than to show you how things fail.
Exactly.
And that's what he's so good at teaching. He's also got Matt there, who we met when we went on the solar sailboat from Sunlight Conversions. They're going to be teaching this on January 19th in northern New Jersey. You can check out their Eventbrite, and you can get 20% off using the Now You Know code. So if you want to learn how to do this stuff, like hands-on, taught by a guy who knows how to do it, go check out his class, because I'm freaking jealous. I want to take that.
Me too. All right, so this is from our friend Max. I'm going to name him Mad Max because he's crazy. Look at this. They did a side-by-side drag race with a bunch of different Teslas. Looks like they had a lot of fun. He got to ride in a P100D Model S. Nice. And he was impressed.
So our friend Aviv reminded us that moretesla.com is an awesome place to share ideas about ways to improve Teslas. We had a lot of people reaching out to us and like, where do I go? It's called moretesla.com. And we all know that Elon values the community's ideas. And here are a couple cool ideas that when I first read them, I was like, this is crazy. But then I actually looked into it some more. So the first one here is smart headlights. These make rain and snow virtually disappear, and they don't exist yet. It's still, people are figuring this out. But if anyone was going to figure it out, it would be Tesla, right? So what they do is they time the light. There's a camera that looks at the snow or the rain. It sees where that dot of rain is, calculates where it's going to go to, and then multiple LEDs in your headlight. So not just one LED, but multiple ones are like, okay, this one will light up that rain. We are not going to turn this one on right now, so that rain will fall, and then we'll turn on the LED after it has fallen. So it's not perfect, but I've seen some tests here, which you can check out this link below, to Carnegie Mellon University, where they explain the whole thing. And basically it makes it so that a lot of it kind of just disappears because it's not being lit. So that's cool if we had smart headlights on our Teslas. The next one is airless tires. And again, it seems kind of crazy, but they're actually out there. They're real things. And if Teslas had them, not only would they be more efficient, but they could be environmentally sustainable.
Interesting.
So Mike stumbled upon some Canadian geese at a Six Flags, and because of the Tesla stealthiness, they took off, leading to a game of chicken. And Mike admits he slowed down a bit, so it looks like the geese won.
Speaking of moretesla.com, the creator of moretesla.com, Fred, check out what he was doing New Year's Eve.
He was at a party or something?
No, he was actually at the Fremont Delivery Center helping deliver people's cars.
So Tesla hired him as an employee?
Nope, he was a volunteer.
Yeah, Fred reached out and he said, I had a great time helping out at the Fremont Delivery Center and then at the factory. I have a new respect for assembling things. My only job, besides explaining the car to new owners, was to put on a temporary rear license plate. There's nothing like doing the same thing over and over again to show you how ridiculously challenging it is to repeat the same process identically many times over. I don't know how many cars I helped deliver, but it was great to see all the smiles on the new owners' faces. Yeah, he helped out until 1:30 a.m. And I just want to point out, he got there. He was like, "Can I help?" They handed him a screwdriver, said, "Fred, could you put, rear license plates on?" And off he went. Now, I want you to picture going to a BMW dealership or a Chevy dealership where would they ever A, hand you a screwdriver? B, at like a BMW dealership, would would a BMW owner know what to do with the screwdriver?
Right.
Look at this ecosystem that that Tesla created. People helping people, not for profit, but for the planet.
Right.
Oh, and Fred wasn't alone. Elon's mom showed up to help.
Wow.
Yeah.
Looking sharp, too.
Of course she is. And Tesla was giving out $10 vouchers for food to people who were waiting because they knew they'd be hungry while they waited. So it's just like they care about people. Speaking of Model 3 deliveries, Scott has got his new Model 3. Congratulations.
Is that tinted headlights? Get in contact. Tell me how you did that. That looks cool.
So check this out, Jesse. This is from Eric's Model 3 dash cam footage. He says, "I was on my way to work when I was behind a car about to turn, waiting for the light and so forth, when this green car ahead of me goes out, and out of nowhere, a car runs the light and hits the car ahead of me. It turns out it was a hit and run. The car that was the culprit had no lights on and hit the vehicle and kept going. It didn't even slow down. I got out of my car to make sure that the driver was okay, and luckily he was not seriously injured. Another motorist noticed what happened and turned around in his truck to follow the culprit and get the license plate. I have forwarded on my dash cam to the victim of the accident and to the police to help the victim with his claim and to hopefully prosecute the at-fault driver who didn't even slow down after the accident. I'm guessing they were under the influence of something." So, yeah, this is another huge reason why dash cam footage is so valuable. And now, as you know, you can turn on honk to dash cam so that you could just beep your horn and automatically record it, which is super important. And we told you last week about Khalil last week. He's in Tunisia, and he's working hard with other Tesla owners around the world to help bring more EV charging stations to a country with very few charging spots. So he's hard at work here, and here's another one of his successes. This is a Tesla destination charger he just got installed in Sousse, Tunisia.
Is this not the best community? I mean, I think that may have been the best community mail time. So we got so many awesome community stories. And hey, reach out to us if you got a community mail time thing. Pictures, videos, we love that stuff. And we love you guys because this is an awesome community of awesome people.
All right, it's time for our on-air question of the week. And remember that we've got a new on-air questions with Zach and Jesse uncut, where we do about a half-hour show on Patreon where we answer all of your questions. That's at the $4 and above level.
And you get to actually ask some of the questions that'll be on the show.
Exactly. Here's one that just came in. This is from Alex. He said, "I recently moved from a Tesla-heavy area to an area that was underexposed to Tesla. With the closest showrooms being an hour away, I posted on my local Facebook marketplace offering free test drives in a Tesla. In 6 months, I've been able to give roughly 45 test drives to the Tesla curious. What are some other ways to let the general public know that I have this standing offer?"
Other ways? You just happened upon a fantastic way. I've never even heard of this before. So you're using the Facebook marketplace to offer free test rides in a Model 3.
And you've already gotten 45 butts and seats?
That's brilliant, dude. Yeah. That's fantastic. This is an excellent idea. If you just read that and you're like, hey, I could do that. All you need is a Tesla. So if you have a Tesla, that's all you need. That and a Facebook account, which I think you're mandated by law to have or something. Go out there and do that. That's a great idea.
Good for you, Alex. I mean, how many people have you probably changed their minds about this?
I know. Way to go.
They were already interested, and now you got them in the car, and you got to talk to them that whole time.
Great work.
Awesome job. All right, it's time for Supercharger reviews. Let's see what those Superchargers look like now.
Hello, Zach and Jesse. Jeff Marshall here at the Skowhegan, Maine, brand new 8-stall Supercharger. The Supercharger is located at the Hannaford Supermarket in Skowhegan, and it also includes 2 charge point 64 kilowatt DC chargers paid for by Dieselgate money as part of the settlement to the state of Maine. And right next to it we have 8 Superchargers, and across the street in the background there we got a McDonald's, auto parts store, food with restrooms. So I'm going to give this a 8 out of 10. Now you know. Here's the same charger iced a few nights later.
Hey, Zach and Jesse, thank you for your great content, and I'm currently at the Supercharger Oberhonnefeld next to the Autobahn 3 in Germany, and it's pretty amazing. It's about 10 o'clock on a Saturday night, and here are 20 stalls, like all the way here, with just one car. And there's a shopping mall behind me, and then if I rotate a bit, there's a big sign that says sex shop, some gambling, and a Burger King, so that's okay. It's freezing cold, but it's cool. There's 20 chargers, none is used, and they all have Tesla and the European CCS, so my Model 3 is supercharging with the CCS. So, bye!
Hi Zach and Jesse, this is Dave Ingram with a very, very special Supercharger review for Tesla Time News. Now, this is only a 2-stall, but it's in probably the most iconic place you can put a supercharger. We're at the Nürburgring. Now I'm here today, it's middle to late November, and it's been snowing like nobody's business, so we have had a devil of a job to get here. And all the white stuff you can see behind us, it isn't stuff from a film set, it is real snow. Got that. Now, as supercharger reviews go, yeah, okay, this is a supercharger, and there's a shopping mall here. No, there isn't. There's a hotel over there, okay, which you can have a look at. It's got all the stuff in it. But this is the Nürburgring. Who the hell gives a damn about whether you've got a fast food outlet or anything else? It doesn't matter. Here you are, this is the Nürburgring. Now, the key thing to know is this supercharger doesn't appear on the map that you get in a Tesla. It doesn't appear on the map. It's on the Better Route Planner map, but it's not actually on the Tesla, on the map you get in the car. It's not on Google Maps. So you have to go, if you're looking for this, and I suggest you do because it's a great trip, people. If you want to do this, then you have to go to look for the Hotel Dorint. Yeah, see up on the top there, Hotel Dorint. Or you ask at the visitor centre just down the road a ways, where you can actually buy a trip to go round the Nürburgring, but unfortunately not an electric car. It has to be one of those damn ice cars. Cheers. This is Dave Ingram signing off for Zach and Jesse here at the Nürburgring.
Fantastic.
I love this part of the show.
Thank you guys.
Thank you for shooting them. I mean, I know it's work, but you're helping the community, because on our website we've got the Supercharger Network map where you can post these videos, and if you see that little green icon, that means there's a video there. If there's no green icon, go make a video for it.
So head over to nowyouknowchannel.com and look for the Supercharger page.
And you can upload them right there. It's real easy. All right, what do we got for new Superchargers this week?
We have the 12-stall 150 kilowatt Supercharger in Staten Island, New York.
We got number 397 in Asia, the 4-stall in Seoul, Tehran, South Korea.
We have the 8-stall 150 kilowatt Supercharger in Skowhegan, Maine.
And number 751 in the US, number 1764 in the world is the 12-stall in Moses Lake, Washington. All right, it's time for our Patreon giveaway. Now, to get into this big whirly gig thing of fun, you just have to become a Patreon.
What are we giving away this week?
This week, we're going to be giving away a beach towel.
So we're going to put a picture of it up because we forgot to bring it down. But we're going to be shipping this out to...
Who's our winner?
To Roger Hugroth.
Congratulations, Roger. You've just got yourself an EcoWear beach towel.
It's not necessarily beach season at the moment.
Depends where you are. If you're in the southern hemisphere, it's summer.
That's a good point. Well, it's still technically called winter.
Is it, though?
I don't know.
I
don't live there, and I've never been below the equator.
I think it's called summer. Let us know in the show. Please, in the show notes, let us know.
Yeah, if you're
all of you in the southern hemisphere are like, oh my God, they're so dumb. Yeah.
This question again. Great.
We hate answering this question.
Thank you so much for making it to the end of the show. We really appreciate you watching. It's so important, this sort of long form content, that you get all of this stuff. If there's any stuff in there, any of the stories that you thought were interesting and you want to share it with someone and you don't want to share an hour-long video, I really encourage you to head over to Now You Know Clips and subscribe, because we're going to be posting just about all the stories you saw today on Now You Know Clips, and you can just send a little 5-minute clip over to someone and they're going to be like, oh, 5 minutes, I have 5 minutes, because everyone seems to have 5 minutes. Right. No one seems to have an hour.
Yeah, I love the New Clips channel. Yeah. It's really, really a great way to go. And you know what else I love?
What?
We're sponsored by Masterclass. and I love Masterclass.
Right.
Like I've been watching about a class every day.
That's why we went out of our way to look for a way to be sponsored by Masterclass.
Yeah,
Because
so-
basically, I remember you told me about this. It was over a year ago, I think, and you were like, "There's all these people, and they tell you about what they do," and I'm like, "Okay, cool." And like who?
Like I had you watch with me Danny Elfman,
Right.
Right, and Danny Elfman, he scored hundreds of films, and I'm a composer myself. So if I had had this chance to take a master class with Danny Elfman 2 decades ago, I would have just flipped out. And so we've started taking this class. I've been watching more of them, and for me, it's like I get to hang out with him. Like he's just sitting there 6 feet from me and telling me all these stories and ways to do things that he's not couching it. He's not like, and the fourth thing you should do. He's just being like, yeah, and I screwed up, and here's what I did wrong.
And Masterclass has a lot of different really, really accomplished people.
Yeah.
I mean, Danny Elfman is just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, there is Neil deGrasse Tyson's on there.
Yeah.
Steph Curry. So there's a wide variety of topics. Who are some of the other folks on there?
Yeah, I mean, Aaron Sorkin, if you want to learn how to be a writer or whatever. You want to learn how to be a comedian from Steve Martin. You want to learn how to do magic from, Penn and Teller.
Right.
Like, the list goes on. It's quite impressive, and they've just been adding new people every week now.
And you might be looking at Masterclass, you might be saying, okay, that's pretty expensive. And it is. But I would pose you the question, how much would you pay for a college level course?
Well, one class, if you want to take just one class, is $99.
Right.
So with a master, like if you want to, take Ron Howard, the director, and you want one-on-one, or any, Annie Leibovitz, you want to learn how to take photography from her, would you pay $99 to do that? Okay,
I think
but then,
you would, right.
But then, a little bit more, and you can take all the classes.
Right. And you're helping to support the show. Like, a lot.
Yeah.
It is a big, big way to support the show. So this is just one of those ways where you can improve yourself. You can have something to talk about around the dinner table, around the lunch table, whatever. Really, really in-depth, really, really well produced. I mean, we were looking at some other similar-ish things with people that you've never heard of them. They're really boring. It's not very well produced. They just keep going from one camera. They just keep walking at the camera. And you're just like, what is this? What am I watching? They do a really good job with set design, everything. It's just really immaculate, fun to watch.
Yeah.
Watch with your friends, watch with your significant other. I don't know, it's really, really good content. That's what we're all about on this show, and
learning.
So, yeah, we thought we'd do this little plug. It would help support the channel. And thank you so much for watching. Now you know.